Hello my audience, today I'm going to be talking to you about this book over here. Among the Walking Wounded, Soldier Survival and PTSD by Colonel John Conrad. And John Conrad was a Canadian soldier that was posted to Afghanistan in 2006, I think, and he tells the story of PTSD over here. So it's kind of divided, he goes to war and then he comes back home and he's kind of fucked, and he's fucked for years, until he goes to a therapy. And it's interesting, he talks about an Afghan city called Kandahar over here, and he goes over a couple of suicide bomb attacks that he got himself into there, and it's very, like war is not very funny, it's not very fun to even read about, but it can be kind of like intense and exciting to read about war like that. And I believe there's so many, American soldiers that have written books about the war in Afghanistan when they have come back. I remember one that was named Outlaw Platoon that you can probably find in YouTube, and I listened to that in audiobook form, and it was exciting, and when the guy had clear way to kind of describe those events. But this book, on the other hand, it's not so clearly described. It's hard to see what you are kind of like telling about over here, but it's kind of a therapeutic, probably way to go about, the bad stuff that happened there. And like what is the most interesting thing about war is the moments of respite that soldiers like this have between the fighting and the world war, and the kind of simple moments when you kind of are grateful for being alive. Yeah, I feel that has been kind of the common factor amongst all the stories, that there are these moments of like peace, even in war. Yeah, then he talks about over here one of the soldiers from his unit that committed a suicide after he got home. And yeah, it's very, war is not very fun, people come back, even though they might not be wounded, for the rest of their life, they can still be quite fucked, And he talks about the Canadian army and how it's not really the way that they handle, mental health issues when the soldiers come back is pretty bad if you don't have, PTSD as diagnosable thing. So yeah. It's pretty sad, the whole thing is quite sad, I think. I'm not really nowhere near like interested in war and the military and this kind of stuff, but I had this book, I bought this like years and years and years ago when I was listening to that book, that Outlaw Platoon book. I wanted to like kind of understand and read something about it, but I feel that I would be maybe interested to read more about the Afghanistan war, because I have been to Middle East, and I like the deserts, and it just has this, this barren landscape, and he talks about the extreme heat and the extreme like conditions. I don't know what it is about the Americans, but they always want to go like where there are extreme conditions for warfare. When you think about, I think I listened to a book about Vietnam, there was this book called What It Is Like to Go to War by a Vietnam War veteran. It was interesting. And then there was the Outlook Platoon, that was about Afghanistan. And then I also listened to one about the Korean War. And man, it's all of these wars, you know, there was extreme conditions, you know, like really, really conditions that, you know, the soldiers were never prepared to like go into. And yeah, I think it's one of the also the reasons why these wars have like went on so long. It was because the locals, you know, over there, you know, fighting the Talibans and that kind of stuff. They knew the territory by like their own pockets, you know. They just knew it. So yeah, of course they had a kind of an upper hand, but you know, just the black and white pictures over here, like it just brings to like kind of my, you know, heart this kind of feeling, you know, the landscape of Middle East. Of course it's brutal, it's fucking brutal, but you know, yeah. Thanks for watching this, and yeah, it's one of those, you know, literary genres, you know, like soldiers writing about war, and there's a lot of stories over there. And one the most tragic things is when these soldiers kind of describe somebody so in depth, you know, and it becomes like this human being, you know, and then all of a sudden he's blown to bits on some roadside, you know, killed like violently to death. And it's all, of course it happens on both sides, and that's usually with the war stories, you know, they don't usually describe the enemy more than, well, they are shooting at fucking us, you know. War has become, you know, this very, well, you know, faceless thing, and it's pretty sad, you know. It's just loss, you know, on both sides. But you know, I understand that there are people in the world that are kind of living desperate situations, and if the prospects of like surviving are like joining a gang, you know, in United States, maybe going to prison versus going to war, then I guess it's kind of understandable. But desperate situation, I feel that it's a pretty desperate act to join the military. But yeah, though in those countries that are kind of posted, you know, overseas. Yeah, sad stuff. He talked about his dreams also. Freaking crazy stuff. Yeah, but thanks for watching this video about the walking wounded. Thanks for watching.